stories about conversations about tobacco are not supposed to be told in isolation. They're supposed to get stories because tobacco is the main cause of a lot of preventable deaths. Not only in Kenya, mimi ni mmoja wa wale ambao moja na nyingine wameathirika na tobacco. I lost my dad. He was a heavy smoker. In fact, if you wanted to know where my dad is, unaangalia moshi, then you know he's seated there. So yeah, but unfortunately, 2 years ago we lost him for tobacco, and after a very long time from hospital, in and out, trying to find out nini kinamsumbua. By the time we were discovering kwamba alikuwa na stomach cancer, it was already late. So mimi ni Zainab Said, I'm a reporter. Kuna watu ambao tunasoma nao wanaona. So colleagues, stories about tobacco, advocacy, and just storytelling are important. Not even today, it's like yesterday. Because I won that award through an organization of non-communicable diseases of Kenya. I don't know if you've heard it. It's a story I won. It's an organization that gave me that award, and it's a story I did on World Tobacco Day. And I talked to Peter Maina, the one who speaks with something here. He was heavy smoker he says since he was a very young person, then akaendelea na uraibu, but it costed him a lot. And it was a very sad story, a very emotional story that I filed. And as he mentioned, we went to that smoking zone up on GPO, and we were actually shooting from inside there. You can imagine. We were actually putting on masks, me and my camera person, but by the time we were leaving there, we were busy. We felt very busy. And that story has opened doors for me, opened conversations for me from different people that I would have never even have interacted. So even as you tell that story about tobacco, as you pass that message out, just know people are watching, people are listening. And community radio stations, I believe, they are very powerful. You know that. Even now, politicians are looking for us because national radio stations don't have platform. I mean, they have to sell. So every time they're doing matangazo, so if they're giving you time for conversation, it's limited. And even when you're doing that feature story on tobacco for a national radio station, it's not the same as a community radio station. You can have a whole 20 minutes because we are looking for content at community radio stations. So if you tell those stories, and if you see these awards anywhere, any entry, just enter. And a good story, I'll say, look for a case study, and they are just around us. Even if you're doing a show, a reggae show like Bush here, try and find someone who has gone through that. Bring them on the show, have a conversation. For him, I see also, he's also, as much as he's doing the show on radio, he's also live on Facebook. And as we all know, engagements on Facebook are so high, like they're very interactive. So if you're having that show, bring someone. A case study is usually, when you're giving data, or other organizations release data every day. But if you go with that data and start telling the target audience, most of the time you will not hit home. But when you go with a case study, that this is a result of this, most likely someone will hear and they are going to change. So as we tell the stories out there, as we host our breakfast show, mid-morning show, drive show, it's just hold a very powerful tool, and those stories are needed out there. But again, those stories can put you on platforms that we never imagined before. So, yeah, thank you.
So I know tunasikia njaa lakini njaa ishini. I want to invite the last person. The last person mwenye ataongea, alafu we are going to do a way forward. I do believe this is a very, very strong team. For today, ingekuwa hata tunatwist hii meeting. Utume tu mahali, utume mahali. The power of teamwork. I know kumekuwa na conversation mahali. Yeah, so Mr. Thomas, karibu hapa, utupe paragraph yako moja mbili. Na right now tunaona kwamba Facebook si ya kutwak tu ni kutwak. Unaweza peana a message yenye itabadilisha maisha ya watu. Kama unatoka kidogo na unawaambia na usivute sigara.
Watu wanataka kuona watu wakitwak, eh?
Can you talk fast?
Weka muziki. Mbona mkuwekea change volume ya tunataka muziki? Okay, I won't take a lot of time of your time because also I'm rushing somewhere else. And my name is Thomas from the Kenya Tobacco Control and Health Promotion Alliance. We have been in this battle for some time, and we have another alliance here that we formed about the Tobacco and Nicotine Tax Coalition. So this one we are pushing for taxes for tobacco products to go up. So when the taxes go up, the consumption goes down. Sio tumeelewa sisi wote? So you are all advocates right now. Tungekuwa na certificates, kila mmoja angepewa yake because you understand the message. And I think we can work on that also in future so that these trainings, they also build your CVs. Ndio, ukienda mahali utasema kwamba mambo ya tobacco pia najua na certificate ndio hiyo. So that's something that we can improve more. Now, I came with these products na nikasema ziende round. What did you notice about them? Anything you noticed?
I just had a conversation with Dan here, and he said, I don't consume, but I think I easily use this.
This
Yes,
one?
yes.
You can easily use it, sindio? Hata bila mtu kuambia, because hata before unusa ikipita tu karibu na wewe unasikia tu maembe mengine hapo. Unasikia kukula maembe. Okay? So we are doing a campaign ya kwamba these products, pia hii, as small as it is, it should have graphic warnings. Sawa sawa? The same as hii pia vile iko na graphic health warnings, yeah? So that if someone is using, they know. But we still want these ones to be banned. Hizi ni velo na poches. Now poches na velo walifika kiwango wakaanza kutengeneza utumia kadogo. Initially walianza na hii ilikuwa na poches. Normally it has around 20. Okay? So wakaona watu wengi hawezi afford this one because it was going at around 1,000 and something, more than 1,000 shillings. So wakatengeneza ile kadogo. Hii hapa. So hii iko na 10 poches. And I'm very sure wangekuwa the free will wangetengeneza hata ya 5 poches. Now what we know ni kwamba even after this kuna wale walianza kuuza nini moja moja. Sawa sawa. So jamaa anafungua, unakuja unataka velo yako moja unapewa, shika ukajiue ama ukajimaliza. So these things right now we have passed a law whereby all these products zinafaa zikuwe na graphic health warnings. It doesn't matter ikuwe kubwa ama ndogo. So that's what we want all you guys also to help us to push, so that all tobacco products, nicotine, velo, vapes, whatever, zinafaa zikuwe na products. And we are still calling for the ban of the pouches because consumption ya pouches ijaenda juu sana. So pia hiyo tunataka iweze kubaniwa. And finally, we have a group, WhatsApp group, Yama journalists, where we share information about some of these things. Tuko na group zetu zingine zenye ziko na siasa mingi, mapambano na all that, still going. Because this is a fight, we believe it's a fight because we are fighting some very serious people who have invested a lot of money in this. Hata BAT yenyewe, ukiangalia shareholders wa BAT, ni watu wanaweza kutumwa hapa immediately. Ukimesi na biashara yao. Sawa sawa, unaweza kuwa transported. You see? Unaweza fanya mambo ngapi? Unaweza mambo matatu. So if you mess with your business, that's why we are normally very careful. But if you are willing, we can add you to that group of journalists where we'll be posting information. For example, at 1st May, we have World No Tobacco Day this month, and we are still preparing. So
Next month.
Yeah?
Next month.
Next month, yeah. Oh, Minshabuka. Sorry. That 1st May, we have World No Tobacco Day. I would like all of you guys to be part of it. Na itakuwa mbali, tuko tu hapa Kaloleni, okay? So we'll have a procession whereby we'll be encouraging people to join us and also mobilizing the public. Then tukiwa pale Kaloleni Social Hall, we'll be able to give speeches, share experiences. Wale wenye wametumia wakawacha wataongea venye wameteseka and such. So this will be a very colorful day that we all also want you guys to join us. So if you are willing, you will see me baadaye to add kwa hiyo group ya tobacco control journalists. Then from there we'll be posting if you have any media activity, media news, anything that we want you guys to relate to the general public, it will be good. So that's what I had for today.
Maybe.
Yes.
One thing I noticed about Velo and Lift
brought out is that people who are behind this campaign are people who are well informed. These are people who are educated. Like this portion, this lady was talking. This lady was talking about the aspect, the small bit of cancer. Why they were rejecting the bill because of cancer cost going high. So that is the part that she took, and she decided to educate her audience and the public on as to why they need to reject the bill. Which is basically what we are talking about here. We are creating a narrative as to why we need to increase tobacco and nicotine product taxes on tobacco and nicotine products. You get? Yes. So these are just pure examples of how we can do it. You know, and there are a number of people who are actually using these platforms to raise the same awareness and make this conversation more lively. You know, sometimes you're talking about, when you talk about taxes, people think that taxes don't really make sense. You can't create a narrative out of it. But this, like for instance, this lady is from it's about budget. You can see the hashtag up there, your budget. So it's a budget advocacy. What they've decided to do, they've decided to create infographics about things about budget, and now they're taking you step by step why you need to be aware about the budget. And even for us, as we're talking about a tobacco tax matter, we really need to learn from some of these people and come up with this narrative. As we are creating content for our social media platforms and different other platforms, you make it easier for people to digest why tobacco and nicotine taxes should go up and why it is different from any other tax. You see, this becomes a very good way of creating that narrative. Infograph, and then you have someone just explaining bit by bit why you need to increase these taxes. So I'm sorry I'm not able to get audio here, but I'll just invite you to look for. I think the government. Yeah. So basically, what I'll invite this is the Lesi Trust. They do advocacy. They do simple different advocacy. But there is this particular one that really attracted me, and it really fall in what we are talking about. In our community media, I know the community media is big on all these platforms. You know. Apart from this, I know there are also community podcasts. The Economies, you guys, you also have a podcast. Yeah. Yes, you know. So the community podcast can also be platforms where we educate the public about this information. So see, I wanted to share this. So that we are all familiar on those platforms. So let's reflect a bit again. We've talked about messages. Right? Yes. Messages. We've said that. We've said that the carrier of our advocacy is the message. how we package this message will determine whether we get the outcome that we expect, fall flat, right? So messaging becomes a very important area that we really need to focus on. As communicators, we know anything we are pushing out there, if the message is not clear, it will just fall flat. And anything that we are projecting within our media channels, we are expecting a certain response, what we are calling feedback. The feedback could be positive or negative, but we are expecting feedback. Yeah? In this case, we are pushing for tobacco and nicotine products taxes. We are expecting that the government will listen, and when they are reading the budget, we see that they've taken action. We see increase in that. Okay? So basically, in terms of messaging, as we all know, it simply asks. We are looking at a very simple model. What? So what? Now what? You get? What? So what? Now what? Like in what I've come up with here, we are looking at the what part helps us describe the situation that we want addressed. Like for instance, we can have a statement that says every year Kenya loses 9,000 people from tobacco use. Already that paints a picture of a situation. Because at this point we are looking at statistics, we are looking at figures, we are looking at the data that we already have. And then the next question is you are asking yourself, so what? Yeah? So what if we have that? In our case, we are looking at this point, you are allowing yourself to sort of extract some information from the data that you provided there. As a result of that, there are deaths that results from the reason as to why we are having this number of people who are dying is because either tobacco is accessible, we talked about accessibility, or it's affordable. We've talked about all this, we've talked about the ones that we have pointed out that are costing 5 dollars. So we are talking about accessibility and affordability. That could answer our so what. And then they ask, what do we want them to do? So we are saying increasing taxes in tobacco and nicotine products will make these products less accessible, leading to a reduction of tobacco-related deaths. So this can form a bundle of our message. Like, there are this number of people who are dying because these things are easily accessible, but if we do this, if we raise taxes on this, if we raise the prices, we make them less accessible, we are reducing the number of people who are addicted, we are reducing the number of people who are dying, we are reducing the health burden that is caused by this product. So in short, within that message is already answered the 3 components. What, so what, and what. Now what is basically what we are asking the policy maker to do, or what we are asking the audience that we are targeting to do. So simply that is a model that I always find very useful, even when we are crafting our messages in other forums or in other campaigns. So simply, it's a reminder for all of us that it's important to go through this. When you're crafting advocacy messages, it's important always to know why you're doing it. What is your goal? You get? So we need to have a goal in mind. Why are we crafting this message? You can't just craft a message from them. Like in this case, we are looking at taxes. We want the taxes to be raised. So through this advocacy, we want the ministry, or rather the treasury, to raise taxes by around 20%. That is hypothetical. By 20%. So that is our goal. We need to know who the audience is. Like in this case, we are looking at the treasury, the Minister of Finance. Yeah? We are looking at Parliament. We are looking at different kinds of audiences. And since we are targeting different kinds of people, the former things that we are looking at the platform becomes also important. So where can we find the Minister for Finance? You know, is he on the streets? so that we can put billboards, so we can put people with placards. Is he found in conventional media, so that we can have interview sessions, so that as he watches, he gets this information? Or does he interact with newspapers? So should we put our message in there? So the platform becomes important. Right now, I can assure you a number of these policymakers on social media. A number of them, earlier I just spoke about number one, being on social media. The first lady is also there. I just bumped onto her page and she has a huge following. So these are the persuasion of whatever platform we are facing. If we know they are on social media, let's push our message there. If we know they are on newspaper, let's do the print with our narrative.
Mabango. Mabango. Aya. Si mcheke kidogo, watu wengine mmekasirika tu.
Wewe chakula
Oh, sijaweka wana kamera. Udis peke yake ndiye anacheka, hao watu wengine kama mlipigana kiko mbele.
Sio maandamano.
Hizo zimerudi tena zipiga mabango. Oh. Haya, yale tulienda.
Enlightening session imekuwa very interactive. So I understand that kuna interviews tunafanya baada ya this Mtaani Radio. Ruben na wengine tuko tayari kabisa kujiachilia. Cartel pia tuko tayari pia kujiachilia.
Yes, Cartel
after lunch ndio hiyo ujumbe ifike. Sawa sawa. So kama venye mmeambiwa no tobacco day, we shall communicate. Tutakuwa tu hapa Makadara sub county, Kaloleni Social Hall, and we hope that your participation and attendance will be very important. Sawa sawa?
Yes.
So asanteni sana.
Sawa, chukueni lunch alafu tutaonana pale.
Lunch tunapitia hapa.
Chukueni kwanza lunch.
Wacha tukule kwanza. Wanakupige. Oh,
Wewe
si uniseme hivyo.
kwanza hiyo iko na message nzuri.
Hivi.